The numbers are scary, to say the least. 7 women die because of gender-based violence in South Africa every day. Half of those are at the hands of their partners. People opposing women abuse are demanding that the passing of 3 new bills introduced in September be fast-tracked. Let's discuss this now with POWA CEO Mary Makgaba. Thank you very much, Ms. Makgaba, for joining us here on ENCA. Now, the Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Bill, about sexual intimidation, the National Register also for the sex offenders, has been something that organizations such as yours have been calling for a long time. How important is it that the passing on of this bill is actually fast-tracked?
Thank you so much for having me. It is very, very important to have legislative reform, particularly because it was one of our challenges and frustrations that we were facing as an organization like People Opposing Women Abuse. Our women, normally we call them survivors, will go to the courts and you find that they still get secondary victimization. The passing of this criminal law, Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Bill, it is very, very important because it has extended the scope in terms of the bill. If it's passed into law, for instance, looking to additional offences like for your sexual intimidation, the extent of the ambit, for instance, of the incest. We know that when incest is one of the taboo in certain cultures and traditional practices. And if we name and shame these perpetrators in the NRSO, which is the National Register for Sex Offenders, it will be very, very important so that members of the public, everybody can know that they are perpetrators. We want to see them being named and shamed because initially, before these bills were passed, accused had more rights than victims. So it is very, very much imperative that these laws be passed and then as soon as possible. That's why I wanted to fast track as POWA in partnership with Joko.
There's also that domestic violence amendment bill that was, it extends certain provisions. Explain to us exactly what this bill would mean for people in sexual relationships, for instance.
Yes, for instance, we are very happy because remember the DVA 116 of 1998 initially, before they made a bill, it had certain exclusions. Elderly persons were excluded. You look into the deep rural communities, you find that in our villages, elderly persons are staying alone. Most of them are raped. It's not reported. They don't know what is expected of them. They don't know their rights. Some of them are being neglected by their own grandchildren and their own children. So it extended provisions to say that even if you are not sharing the same residence, remember the DVA Act initially was saying if you have an intimate partner, it's a family member, you are related, you share same residence, then you can report. People who are engaged, if you have a partner in any form of relationship, you can report it, even if you are dating, even if you are in sexual relationship, including customary relationships. We are so happy, particularly also including our senior citizens in our country, so that we can also continue to create awareness to them so that they know what their rights are in terms of all official languages and predominant languages, going to provinces, creating awareness about the Domestic Violence Amendment Bill once it's passed into law.
Now, we all know that all of these bills are very important and the amendment of these bills are very important, but there's one, that is also that I find also more important because it talks about the granting of bail for perpetrators or people who have, who are accused, for instance, of sexual offences. How important is this one, and how do we deal with it, with the whole innocent until proven guilty? But at the same time, if you're a sexual offence perpetrator or accused of that, then there's also that question of putting your victims in danger when you're out there again.
Yes, it's very important. If you look, Masego, to the Criminal and Related Matters Amendment Bill, particularly the tightening of bail, this is very, very core, in line with the Criminal Procedure Act, because we don't want these people to get bail, particularly for those who commit high serious offences, like your femicide, we call it murder. Those who commit murder, those who commit rape, these are very, very serious, high offences. So we don't want them to get bail. It is very important that the complainant be given the opportunity, because previously, bail in terms of their rights as accused person, they used to get bail. It is very imperative now when these bills are passed into law that complainant who is a survivor will be given the opportunity to say, must the person get bail? More explanation will be done in court and then minimum sentences will be imposed. That is the core one, particularly for issue of bail, and then the issue of granting harsher sentences. That is what we are calling for.
But I guess that one is quite difficult because there's also that whole argument about being innocent until proven guilty. But also, Mamakgotla, please just tell us a bit more about that hashtag End Domestic Silence.
Thank you, Masego. We have partnered with Joko. We launched this hashtag. It's hashtag End Domestic Silence. In fact, our core objective is to create awareness and a safe space and a safe net for women in this country so that women and children can be protected. You look into the sketch of gender-based violence, it is very, very, very alarming. So we created this hashtag so that people can understand the dangers of silence. That is why we are saying end domestic silence. People must speak out. You can talk to your neighbor, you can talk to a teacher, you can talk to anyone, a friend or your pastor, so that you don't just keep quiet, so that you can get the necessary help. You can also talk to organizations like us, which is people opposing women abuse, because we are forever available to assist our survivors in case they have problems or our victims. So the hashtag end domestic silence. We are calling upon all South Africans. It's a call for action. We want to send a petition during the end of these 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children to the presidency, because we wanted these three important bills that we've been speaking of: the Domestic Violence Amendment Bill, Criminal Law, Sexual Matters and Related Matters Amendment Bill, to be passed, including the Criminal and Related Matters Amendment Bill for granting of bail. We want these three important bills to be passed into law as soon as possible, because we are having a challenge, a national crisis. It's a societal problem. It's a collective effort for everybody. We need to make sure that we are all participating. So if people can add their voices, go to joko-addyourvoice.uwina.com and then add their voices, follow the instructions, they add their voices. We are going to collect all the voice notes and then collate them and send them to the presidency for calling upon this issue of GBV to end immediately.
Well, thank you very much. Let's leave it there. That is CEO of POWA.